What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Bogey Proof. You got myself, Joey, and Mikey coming to you tonight. Recapping a little Tour Championship, a little Solheim Cup, kind of wrapping up a pretty busy weekend in golf, and then looking forward to discussing a little bit of fall weather. What comes with the fall? We got fall topics, fall golf, all the fun things that come. So, a lot of topics to get through tonight. Let's start off like we always do, boy. Where are we calling in from, and what are we sipping on?
Joseph, what do you got?
Am I starting again? Well, same song as last week. I'm with Fontaine. I'm more. This one's just for the boys tonight. I'm not really gonna drink much, but cheers.
And for those only consuming via podcast, check us out on YouTube because you'll be able to notice that Joey just grabbed that lovely bottles of Makers that stays next to his bed apparently, and took a nice drink for us to kick off the podcast. So, love
Yeah,
that.
and I think that one was actually more full than the other, so that might be a new bottle. I don't know what he was up to last week. That was possibly a new bottle, though.
No. I'll probably have that for the next 20 episodes.
Not if that's the thing you keep taking a swig of to start every episode.
Anywho, Michael, yourself?
I'm drinking a nice glass of Cabernet for those watching the video. A nice full glass of Cabernet. It's kind of at the point in the bottle where there's no going back. Like you can't really have a small glass because then there's too little left in there. I didn't have anything on the menu that required cooking in red wine, so we're just going with the big glass of wine on a Tuesday as we do this recording. Was chomping on a little fruit. That was the topic of discussion before. Getting a little sugar in you, but healthy sugar. The fall is an interesting time where you get to put on a little extra clothing, carry a few extra pounds. No one really knows what's going on, but we're trying to keep that weight down, trying to enjoy ourselves, play a little good golf. But yeah, just enjoying a little glass of wine. Mr. Fontaine, do you have anything in that glass of yours?
No, nothing special tonight. Had a pretty extensive celebratory, whatever you want to call it, Labor Day weekend. Took full advantage of the extra day off, so kind of got to behave myself for a couple days here before the next weekend sneaks up on me and all of a sudden it gets out of hand. Drink too many days in a row. So we're cutting in the water for today and probably tomorrow too. And I got football starting up on Thursday night, so probably gonna have a couple beers watching that. So needed some much needed water again in the system. It's all about balance. So we had to tone it back a little bit tonight, go with a little bit of water, but obviously in Connecticut and honestly buzzing off of the Solheim Cup. I mean, I watched a ton. I probably watched 80% of it, the whole thing. I'm just like such a big fan, and we've talked about it so many times before on this podcast, but I'm such a big fan of match play and team events. Like, the Zurich one doesn't always work for the PGA Tour, but like a lot of the other ones, like whether it's the Dell match play or obviously the Ryder Cup has always been something that's stood out and been a little bit special to me, and just like it gets me going. I mean, I can remember back in college, I want to say it must have been 2014. And then also 2016, obviously we were there for as well. But like, those were weekend events. Like we were up at 8 a.m. right after clinic, right to whoever's apartment it was, whether it's shout out producer Paul. I'm pretty sure we're at his apartment for a few times, or back at Joey's and Eric's Evergreen, whatever it was. Like Ryder Cups and team events, stuff like that. They just have a different buzz around them, different energy. And I had a ton of fun watching the Solheim Cup this week. I don't know if you guys had any chance to watch or what your key takeaways were, but I'll let you guys kind of dive into it, and then I'll add a couple more of my thoughts.
I'll give my usual 2 cents. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to watch as much. Sorry, I was getting something off my keyboard. Had it on at work. Didn't see much, but as I feel like talked about before, the golf course looked awesome. The first and 10th tee. It's just such a unique kind of
Really cool.
Yeah, it's funny too because it's a Donald Ross, and there's actually a course. It's a 9-hole golf course here. It's called Carter Country Club, and the first and the fourth hole, granted, it's nothing like that, right? But it kind of reminds me of that. Like it's literally kind of the same hole that just mirrors each other. One's on the left, four's on the right. I don't know. I just found it very similar, and it's because it's also a Donald Ross at Carter Country Club, so just cool to kind of see the similarities in that, but. I saw some pictures that No Laying Up was posting just saying, like, you can't like the undulation here, like just
Yeah.
so many bumps and everything like that. It was just amazing, and that golf course looks fucking awesome. And Mikey, I think you should try to play there while you're up in that area, because aren't you not too far from it?
Yeah, we're at a little less than an hour. So yeah, I will definitely put it on my list.
I'll make a trip.
Maybe this guy Joey Zielinski that I know that's in the PGA program
I
to make
think we could work
a phone call or something. But
I'll see what I can do for you. For us,
we'll see. Or just
well, bogey proof
let's
retreat.
let's find a time. I mean,
could rip up
get on
Toledo.
a plane and let's play Inverness. We'll play the University of Michigan course, little Donald Ross, Alistair McKenzie weekend. Like we could have ourselves a pretty good time.
Sounds like a good
I'm
weekend.
gonna go. We're gonna just quickly go back to the Michigan golf course. You said earlier they park on the golf course. I just thought like you can still golf during football season. So like when it's football season, the golf course is just like shut down for that day. Is it open like the next day?
So they shut it down. They shut it down for the day.
Yeah.
In the past, they've opened a handful of holes. I don't believe they're doing that anymore. But they shut it down, and then it's shut down until like 10 o'clock the next morning because it's kind of they have to go and they have to clean it all up and they do whatever.
Yeah.
But they're pretty strict on hey, you have to get your car off the golf course like within 3 hours of the end of the game.
Huh.
But right for a noon game, that closes the golf course completely from pretty much
It's all day.
the start of the day till 6 at night. So
Yeah.
there's there's no golf being played. Yeah, they get up there and they clean it on Sunday morning. Luckily, with the holiday this weekend, got out there Monday afternoon to play a little bit. But yeah, super interesting that 7-8 weekends a year they're parking cars on Alistair McKenzie. Criminal, but understandable from the
It's hard to
revenue.
go off topic. I don't know. Anywho.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I will definitely try to get down to Inverness. Looks spectacular on TV, and you can just tell it's one of those old school golf courses that is much different in person. Like it's just the lay of the land, the different architecture features, and just like the different types of grasses out there, right? Like that 10th hole with that crazy like wire grass, like kind of more native thick grass around the greens. I really love to kind of, I'm gonna, just the different levels of like right that first tee shot of, it's women, the women never really hit it down the bottom on that first hole. But my thought is like the first thing is like, hey, if I'm playing that tee, I'm kind of brought with two ideas. I'm either hitting like 3-iron or something, chasing it out there kind of the top of the hill, or I'm trying to rip a driver and get it down that lower level, having a shorter shot. So like that's the mark of a cool, interesting golf course is
How long
when
is like
I'm
that
sitting
second
at
cut
home.
in on those holes? You guys
Uh,
know?
the first hole was like they were playing between like 110 and 160 at the top of the hill on that first hole. But it was
Yeah,
only
I'd rather be
the
there.
whole what?
It just gets tighter and brings in a bunker if you
Yeah.
go all the way down to the bottom. I mean,
Yeah.
that golf course, I think, and kind of to what Mikey's alluding to on this first hole, like it seemed like, and again, they had the tees in the appropriate place and all that stuff makes a difference too, but because they set it up to make it, risk
Yeah.
reward as much as they could given the format and whatnot. But it just seemed like almost every par four, there was thought to the tee shot. It wasn't just straight away whack
Mhm.
a driver, see how far up you get it, hit your next shot. It was
Mhm.
either I feel like was there 14 par fours out there, give or take, right? I feel like probably at least half of them, I didn't see every single player hit a driver on. I mean, granted, some players that's just what they do. They're
Yeah.
aggressive, or their driver's so straight that it doesn't really matter. Like there's enough of like you could tell like they really had to think about it. I mean, even 17, right? Like 17, they played up 16 a lot of times because if you hit a driver straight on 17, your driver goes through. It gets too narrow and
Yeah.
rough. And then you can't, like, those greens were so firm and fast out there this week that out of the rough, you can't stop the ball. So what they would do so they could hit a driver and not have to lay back so far, because it was a long hole as well.
Yeah.
They'd hit a driver over the trees down the 16th fairway because that one rolls out all the way to the tee box on 16, I think almost. And then they'd have only 150 yards in, and then obviously you still got to hit the fairway, but
Yeah.
150 yards in, where the furthest they could get in the fairway is like 180, I think, going the traditional route. So it just, and I mean that's obviously an extreme, right? They're going over trees to another hole, but it a lot of tee shots. It wasn't just grab driver and make sure you hit it straight. It was like if I hit a driver, now bunker A, B, and C are in play, or it runs out here if I go on
Yeah.
this line, and like it was just really, really a spectacular golf course for like, and they set it up really well, I think, too. Just like it just produced so much, like you could tell, like it so many different shots, right? Like you have the Cordas or like Lexi Thompson who hit it so far, hitting two
Yeah.
irons off the same tees that some of even the other American girls or European players like are hitting a driver on still, but it's just because of where their runouts go. It's just different and things like that. I think that's
Yeah.
a sign of a good golf course, right? When it's not just every par fours 4x yards and it's a driver and you just got to hit the fairway. It's like they weren't really overly long holes from what I can remember. Like I feel like a lot of them were under 400 yards. A few of them were right around that 300-yard mark. I mean, you saw 16, I think it was, on the singles matches that they were playing that one only. It was like 265 front edge. So you have players that can, they hit a good driver, they can chase one up with how firm it is out there. But then you got all these different bunkers that come into play. You had a few players that hit like a 3-iron or a hybrid and stayed short of the bunkers and then had like a 60-yard wedge in. But I'd say a majority of them kind of win for it. Like I think Jess Cordish hit a 3-wood on the front edge. Like
Hmm.
it's just like it had so many quality par fours that weren't quality because of how long they were, but like the thought that went into like the landing zones and stuff like that. It was a really, really cool golf course to watch all weekend.
So as interesting and great of a golf course it was for us to view as viewers of the Solheim Cup.
Yeah.
I I think it brings up the question, like, is that an appropriate golf course and an appropriate setup for the U.S. team? Because I truly think, and obviously I haven't played a lot of golf over in Europe, but like having played in Ireland that last week, it is strategic golf over there. When you grow up playing in that mindset, like you just operate a little bit different. And I feel like a classic golf course in the US that was built in the early 1900s, like Inverness was, lends itself to be more of, a European type of golf course or a European type of style, as opposed to, what they're mostly playing on tour. And I
Mhm.
think, you kind of alluded to, hey, people like the Cordas and Lexi Thompson. I just don't know. Like Lexi Thompson is just like not a great iron player, and we're making her hit iron off half the tees
Yeah.
and lay it back
She
to
gets everything
places
gets
like
left her in a hurry with
eh,
her with the
eh,
irons.
right. And she's just like her best. She's not a great driver of the golf ball, but
An advantage for her though. Yeah.
that's her advantage. And like Nelly Corda hits at 275 on a rope, and like we took driver out of her hands quite a
Right.
bit. Um, and there's some really good drivers of the golf. Charlie Hall's a really good driver of the golf ball, and Norquist's a really good driver of the golf ball. So like, there's some people on the European tour, the European team that are really good drivers of the golf ball. But like, I don't know. That was kind of where my mind went to. Not to get too strategic over it, but I just, and I don't know. It's a difficult question because I want to see these golf courses on TV. We're not going to see them played by the men, most likely,
Yeah.
because it played great from 6,600 yards this weekend. They're not. It plays different even from 71,
Yeah.
than the men do. So I want to see these golf courses, but it definitely opens up the question of how we're setting them up and how we're operating as kind of an organization when we do get to kind of choose the setup here. So just something that kind of came to mind. Obviously 13, to lose 15-13 is not, if they play better on Saturday morning, they
Yeah.
win the Solheim Cup. So
Yeah.
it's, I don't want to say it's too much on setup, but that definitely frustrated me a little bit because I think we took away a little bit of our advantage. Um, and some of our best players. Nelly
Hmm.
Corder really struggled. She's the best player in the world. She struggled out there.
Yeah.
Right. And on a normal day, on a normal day on the LPGA Tour, she's hitting 1,000,000 drivers. She's
Ooh.
striping at 280 down the center. She's in a great rhythm, and she's
Yep.
making 6-7 birdies around. She was just off balance. Like the
Yeah.
first hole she laid it back to 155 yards or whatever she did. She hit 8-iron in there, and we got other people hitting 3-wood to 115 yards and being able to spin something in
Mm-hmm.
there. You're the best player in the world. Like I want to see you pushing it to the
Yeah.
edge and having a wedge in your hand. I like your chance of making birdie and setting the tone. Right? She wins her match, but like I don't know. It was a little uncomfortable at times for me to watch,
Yeah.
with the setup.
Yeah. It's definitely a fair point, and definitely, you know, I'm sure we'll get into it when we talk Ryder Cup stuff in the next few weeks as well. But it's something that we expect and we see get kind of thrown in our face when we go over to, we went to France, right, for the Ryder Cup recently. Like they made that place short, like as short as they could be, right? But they made it windy, tricky, really got to that creative side of the brain that clearly favors the Europeans, just kind of based on all the things we were getting at there. And it's like, seems like we kind of, as as awesome as a golf course is in Inverness, it seems like we took we took something that we probably could have stretched out a little longer and just made it gettable. As much as maybe she's thinking, I don't want to, wipe out half of my team by making it too long. But you take, you know, three of your top five players probably with the Cordas and Lexi, and kind of take away their
You kind
calling
of you,
card.
you neutralize
Yeah,
them is
neutralize
what
them.
you
That's what I
do.
was looking for. Yep,
You
exactly.
neutralize them. So, and right, Megan Kang is a girl that hits it short. She stripes it with everyone. I don't care. You put her on a 6,700, 6,800 yard golf course. She might have longer clubs in, but like she's going to hit a driver straight. She's going to get herself a proper angle and be able to play holes. Like she's played like 12 U.S. Opens and she's like 25. Like she knows how to play a difficult golf course. She knows how to move her game, and she's malleable enough to be successful pretty much anywhere. And the
Yep.
best players on our team, like I just feel like we neutralized them, and that was our top heavy players. That was our advantage, and we kind of
Yeah, we threw it
kind of
away.
neutral.
Right. Agreed.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I mean, it ended up being a super close match, like you alluded to, right? We lost 13-15. But it just seemed like, and to your point, I mean, like our top players essentially were pretty much in the middle for their record this week. I don't, maybe just below 500. I know Danielle Kang didn't have the best week. Jessica Korda did not have the best week. Nelly ended up going 2-1, I think, or 2-1-1. But certainly not what you expected out of the number one player in the world. Nothing was really done in any dominant fashion by any means. And Lexi Thompson, I think, was 2-1-1, or maybe 1-2-1, something along those lines. I know she had, maybe it was 1-2-2. I don't know, or whatever. I don't know. She didn't have the best week, right? Basically, we took our top players and they went a pretty much 500 or less, which going to be tough to win a Ryder Cup when three or four of your top players are just kind of mediocre in the middle of the pack, like we're getting at. So kind of tough to see that. But I do want to give a shout out to Leona Maguire from the European side, first Irish woman to represent in the Solheim Cup, and she absolutely was MVP, like far and away, was just dominant all week. She won 4.5 points. She played in every single match, which for a rookie, that's like unheard of. And like absolutely took it to everybody in every match she was in. I mean, just she had this 9-wood out there that she was hitting from all over the place, and just the creativity, like you kind of alluded to, like it was just, she made it look so much easier than it really was out there, just hitting 9-woods to 10-foot circles on these par fives or the longer par fours from 200 yards out, whatever it was, and just like really put on a clinic all week. Like no weaknesses in her game. She drove it well. She was flagging irons, and she was rock solid with the putter, especially in some of those 4-ball enforcement matches that she was playing with Mel Reed. It was just like anything inside 15 feet, you're like, son of a bitch, this is going in again, isn't it? And sure enough, as we've seen many a times on the Ryder Cup with the Europeans, there's just never a doubt when they have an inside 15 feet or even inside 10 feet. And every time an American, whether it's men or a woman, have one of those, it's like, I'm not even going to get myself excited. There's no way this is going in. It's just a different feel. about it, but I did want to give her credit on the European side because she was absolute nails and just making it look so much easier than it was out there. And then one other honorable mention I had was Jennifer Cup, rookie for the U.S. team. She won the inaugural first ever Augusta National Women's Amateur 3 years ago now, almost. She was also nails all week. She ended up losing to Leona in the singles matches, but before that, she had some epic performances on Saturday afternoon through Sunday, playing with Lizette Salas and their four ball and foursomes, and she played really, really well as a Ryder Cup rookie as well. She was 2-0-1 going into the singles that she lost to Leona, who is by far the best player out there this week. So Jennifer Cup shows, I think, is a bright spot that'll definitely be on many Solheim Cup teams going forward. That definitely deserves a little bit of credit for her performance this week, as much as the U.S. ended up falling short, but she carried her own for sure this week.
Yeah, definitely like those 2 points. Leona McGuire was just special. Didn't in their match in the singles didn't lose a hole. So if that kind of puts
of
it
the first 7,
just puts it in perspective, like you just put someone in a hole and she just kept pouring dirt on kept Joe. She was already in that hole there. So yeah, fun weekend. Great golf course. A lot of things to talk about. But outside of Solheim, there was also another event going on. Tour Championship, FedEx Cup. I don't know what to call it now because it's kind of all one. Like, did we at this point? Do we is it considered a win? Did Patrick Cantlay win? Like, I'm just confused at kind of where it is. I know we chatted a little bit about it last week, but I was interested, so I went on the official World Golf Rankings to see how the points updated. Jon Rahm and Kevin Na shared first place points in the World Golf Rankings.
Yep.
So I'm just confused in the fact that we're going to say Patrick Cantlay won this week when the World Golf Rankings is considering Rahm and Kevin Na to have won this week as far as points distributed. I don't know. I'm okay with giving Cantlay $15 million. He won the season-long thing. It just seems odd to me. I think it's worth revisiting a little bit as far as after we've seen it this year and we see Cantlay go wire to wire after having the lead. What are kind of your thoughts quickly? I don't think we need to dive too much into it, but Fontaine, are you comfortable with Cantlay being considered the winner this week, or just overall thoughts on the Tour Championship?
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree. I just I get why they did it, and we talked about it last week. I understand what they're trying to do. It just still just doesn't feel right especially when behind the scenes you're giving out different official World Golf Ranking points for the same event than the leaderboard actually shows. Like when you technically have a shadow leaderboard or whatever you want to call it, behind the scenes that's being used for their official World Golf Ranking, it just seems weird to not then reward that tournament like that as well. I mean, I get there was a lot of hypotheticals and situations going on in the past where if you gave out 2 trophies, right, one for that week and then one for the season long thing, people didn't love that either. So maybe you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. But yeah, I agree. It just feels weird that, and again, Jon Rahm, I think we talked about it before, but he's going to get through this year and only get one win when there's 3 different events he played in where he beat everybody he played against. Right? I mean, I guess he tied
Cantlay twice.
And Cantlay twice with the Memorial and then this week's FedEx Cup. Rahm beat him for the holes that he played, but didn't beat him. How obviously with the Memorial, the COVID thing, whatever. But Jon Rahm was up 6 or 7 going into that, and then he got COVID. And then this week he beat Cantlay for 72 holes, but Cantlay had a 4-shot head start, so he didn't beat him. It's Jon Rahm's going to have one of those I think I've said this either on the Gambling Lab or on this week's podcast or this podcast last week, but he's going to look back at this 6-month stretch he put together and be like, how the hell did I only win one golf tournament? I mean, granted, it was a major, so he's not going to be upset that he only, that with the one that he did win. But God, I mean, how many top 10s and top 5s did he have this year without wins, and like you said, the COVID thing at Memorial, like it's just interesting. And I think because of that, like he led every statistical category on the PGA Tour this year and only won once. And Cantlay won 4 times because they, gave him credit for this week. Like it's weird. I don't know if I get, like you said, I guess to kind of loop around back here and get to your question, like I'm okay with Cantlay winning the season-long thing. I don't think he should be getting a PGA Tour win this week if the official World Golf Rankings did not give him a win, is my final answer. Long-winded, but we got there. Joe, you got any other thoughts?
I'm not a numbers guy. Just doesn't make sense. I said it last week. Tournament should start at even par. I actually didn't even know that was like the case with Kevin Na and fucking John Rahm, and like that just makes even less sense. Like, why is it even got to be all these? Like, why can't they just like if you win first, like I don't know why the numbers got to be so complicated. Why can't they just do like 1 through 100, something like that? It's something a little easier to follow. Guy with the most points wins. It's like how I run my fucking Twilight League. It's pretty easy, honestly. Like, why do we got to do this complex thing? I mean, I do it for the Player of the Year too. Like, I don't know. It doesn't make fucking sense. But good for Patrick Cantlay. Dude can play. So can John Rahm. Didn't really like that either.
Yeah, I guess we don't want to take away from Patrick Cantlay. I mean, when you have John Rahm breathing down your neck, like he held him off. I mean,
Yeah.
I know he had a head start in order to do so, but for the last 36 holes or whatever, once that first 2 rounds kind of, they both separated from the group or whatever, like it was him against Rahm for 36 holes and he was 2 shots ahead and he stayed ahead. He never let Rahm get back to tied with him. So shout out to Cantlay. Cantlay is really my biggest hope right now for the U.S. Ryder Cup team, because with Brooks getting injured this past week, I don't know if he's going to be – if he does go, he's not going to be 100%. When he had his wrist troubles 2 years ago, he got really, really bad for a little while there. Like, so you never know what happens with that. And Cantlay just seems to be able to make putts and put the ball in the hole when he needs to, which is something the U.S. team always lacks for the Ryder Cup. So I'm looking forward to that. I mean, he just time and time again this week, even if he, got out of place or out of sorts at any hole, he always made the 4.5 or 5 footer he needed to limit damage. And when he had opportunities, he was able to capitalize. I think John Rahm said in his interview, he's like, I played just as well as I needed to. I just a putt or 2 here and there, and that's the difference. And it seems like Cantlay has been on the good side of that 2 weeks in a row now, where he's made everything he needed to. And I hope that hot putter continues. I mean, at the end of the day on PGA Tour, that's what it comes down to. I know we talk so much about driving and distance and ball striking.
Gotta roll the rock.
You got to be able to make putts on the last 6 holes.
Roll the rock.
When all of a sudden, when you get to that final 6 holes and it's you and a couple other guys, you're all 3 in that mix because your driving and ball striking is pretty elite. The way you're going to squeak something out in that small of a sample size for 6 holes is somebody's going to have to make a putt or somebody's going to miss a putt. That's going to be the difference. And Cantlay seems to be rolling it just as good as anybody right now. So hopefully he can hang on to that for the 2 weeks in between now and the Ryder Cup. But as much as the format's kind of ridiculous, as we've mentioned, I think, also can't take anything away from Cantlay. I think he, regardless of his starting point, I think having John Rahm play as good as he did and have his foot on the gas coming at you for 36 holes, he didn't blink. I mean, he might have been inside going nuts, but he's pretty stoic out there and looks like a fucking robot. He reminds me a little bit of DJ, where it's like, does he even realize like what he's doing out there sometimes? Like, or is he just like in his own little bubble? But impressive stuff. I mean, pretty good, like an awesome season all around, regardless of whatever this thing counting as a win or whatever we want to debate. He had a good year all around, no matter what. So shout out to Cantlay, well deserved tour champion.
Quickly, you mentioned DJ. Did you guys see the other day his brother was on a podcast or whatever? He was telling a story about, the Masters that he won. He was like, what was the most, what do you remember the most from it? He was like, I mean, we were kind of like walking up to the 18th green and he just asked me like, where are we at? And he was like, what do you mean? He's like on the leaderboard, like, where are you? He's like, dude, you're like 5 a lead. Like I can get my buddy home from here because it was like a 15 handicap or something like that. But it's just like, Imagine that he literally had no idea where he stood, and I just
That's honestly what you. But like when you're as good as these guys are, and the margins are so small in the PGA Tour, like we've talked about in the past, like in order to be as good as some of them are, like you kind of have to be a lunatic like that and just be so in your own world that you don't like you can't. You could spend all day looking at all the noise around you, and then that'll be till your downfall. But that's an awesome story.
Yeah, I'll try to
setting the master scoring record, having no idea where he stands on the
leaderboard. Fucking nuts, man. That's when you know you're playing good. You're just fucking blacked out, just fucking grinding.
Literally
blacked. What that feels like, but I heard about it once.
There's some cool content out there from the last few days of Cantley talking about he's kind of in a trance out there, and he's put himself in a trance. And he does it not only on the golf course, but as he's preparing for a golf tournament, gets himself to really just dive into the process and put himself in a trance that like he doesn't get bored with hitting a million golf balls, or he doesn't get inundated by the things going on around him. Like he tries to enjoy kind of being out there and enjoying the experience, but while he's out there, he's kind of like walking really slow, and he's got that blank look on his face. So interesting that he kind of mentioned that and used the word trance. I thought that was relatively interesting. But quick shout out, besides Patrick Cantley, quick shout out to the guy.
Tell me you're gonna say, because I've been waiting to say it.
Sung Jae In setting the record for birdies on the PGA Tour in one season. 498 birdies this year. Golf clap for the boy. 5 more birdies than anybody has ever had in a PGA Tour season.
And
the
what,
guy,
he had one win?
Say that again?
He had what, one win this year? Was that even this year? Or was that last year? I'm thinking.
He didn't.
No wins.
I mean, I think he played.
Game was a little volatile this year, Joe. He had a couple big. He had, especially earlier in the year. I remember following him. When we were making a lot of our picks on him and stuff like that. I was like, "Wow, he shot 43 on the back today." Like he had a couple of those he mixed in this year. Sung Jae like, but the offense was there. It's always a good sign.
I remember back at like the American Express, like he was dominating that golf tournament through. I think it was through 45 holes, and then he like tried to hit a hybrid out of a fairway bunker and hit it so far into a pond. I was like, and then he shot like 42 or 43 on that back nine that day, and he had no shot. Like he is all over the place. I'm looking at his stats right now. His best tournament from 2020-2021 season was T2 at the Masters back in 2020, BMW Championship this year, and Century Tournament of Champions. So like that is just spanning like a ridiculous amount of time. Like it's not like he had a little short stretch or something where he had like his best finishes. That is all over the place. Made over $4 million, 5 top tens. I don't know. Craziness. I'm trying to figure out how many times he played this year, because
every weekend.
He did take a couple off for the Olympics, though.
Had to.
But while you're looking, Mike, just to add some more context to the Cantlay Rahm stuff we were talking about, just saw this tweet by PGA Tour or whatever. Patrick Cantlay shot an aggregate score of 47 under in his wins this year at the Zozo, the Memorial, and the Tour Championship. John Rahm in those 3 events was 55 under and didn't win any of them.
It's nuts.
So just goes to show you. I mean, it's weird how things kind of fall at the end of the day. That for Rahm to kind of finish where he did this year, I think he's going to look back and be like, son of a bitch. Like,
while we're on top of shout outs, shout out the boy, the Rat.
Hey.
PGA Tour card again this year, baby. Let's go. Big things to come.
Let's go.
Here's the Rat part 2.
Yeah. Sung Jae played 35 times this year, 29 cuts made, 6 missed cuts, 16 top 25s, 5 top 10s, a third, and a second. So, really never left that top 20 like in FedEx Cup the whole year. and I wouldn't expect him to change anytime soon. Did shoot 77-80 in the Masters this year. That's something to note.
People don't
That
forget.
is kind
Didn't
of
love
wild.
that. I did not love that. I'm pretty sure I picked him at some point or had him in DraftKings or something along the lines for that. Wasn't a fan, but I should have seen it coming. It was his first time playing the Masters when it is truly the Masters in April. The first one was the November one he played in, so probably had a little false confidence going in that week after playing a course in totally different conditions then. It was in
Yep.
April, but
A month later, shot 68-82 at Wells Fargo.
a little volatile this year.
Very volatile from Sung Jae. Glad he's on tour. Glad he's with us, and happy to support him for years to come. So
Absolutely.
him and the Rat are going to bring us some success and prosperity in 2022. I can already tell.
I agree. Completely agree. Couldn't agree
better. I think on that note, probably wrap up all things PGA Tour LPGA from this past weekend. It was a busy week in golf. There's a lot going on Golf Channel, NBC, switching back and forth between both tournaments and whatnot. But all in all, awesome way to end the PGA Tour season. I think the playoffs, as much as you want to get on the format and stuff like that, I think it still produced some pretty good drama with the Cantlay DeChambeau duel and then Cantlay and Rahm this week. Obviously, some elite level golf being played. So I think at the end of the day, the winners probably fell in the right places, but definitely some logistics that still need to be worked out on their end. But all in all, really fun PGA Tour season this year, and had a blast covering it in this way, with doing the podcast and everything like that with the boys. So definitely a little bit different this year. And I think at that note, we'll kind of wrap the golf talk and get into some little less golf talk. Bogey proof doesn't stop just because golf stops. We got other stuff we want to talk about. So, Mikey, why
Hold
don't you give
on.
us a little heads up on the golf, the
Can we hold
non-golf?
that thought real quick?
Yeah.
No, did we when the
Joey's
Olympics?
like, I'm not done. We're not done.
No.
all I'm gonna say.
Just quick question.
Yeah.
When the Olympics happened, did we we were kind of on that break then, right? Like we didn't really.
We did a pre. We did a
I don't think we
pre-Olympics
did anything.
thing.
I just wanted to know, what do you guys think of it? Because I don't know if we really talked about it.
I mean, I think I
I
had a lot of
enjoyed
fun watching it. It was obviously hard to watch with the time zones.
Yeah.
I mean, you couldn't watch the finish.
Yeah,
But I watched the
I don't know.
start
I
every night.
enjoyed it, and I kind of want to see it to continue grow. I don't know. I wish it was something and I get it. It was tough to fit in their schedule, but I don't know. I feel like that's a sick brag to have. What if Tiger Woods had all his majors and I have a gold medal? What do you have, bitch? It's cool to say I have a gold medal. I can add that to my resume. Not many people can have that.
I agree. I think that I think in one of the episodes we were kind of weighing that out of what's more important, a PGA Tour winner or gold medal or major or gold medals, things of that nature.
I mean,
think a gold
major,
medal,
obviously, but a tour win, I'm taking a gold medal over that. You kidding me?
Yeah, for sure. I think that's where we landed. But I think what I'm hoping happens next go around is that it's, it seems like for both Olympics that they've had it at least in recent memory in Brazil, and then obviously this year in Tokyo, there's pandemic and health things going on. Like this year, the pandemic obviously screwed that up. Of one, timing with their schedule got all moved around for the tour, then also just travel restrictions for all the players as well. It just made it a mess.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you definitely got some good players that went over there, but you didn't get all of them.
Yeah. They need to bring a team aspect into it, though.
Yeah, that's for sure. That definitely.
You can do a team game, and then obviously still medal and individual.
Yeah, I think that's definitely something that they should look into and figure out the best way to do that, because that would definitely generate a lot of buzz.
Yeah.
And I think because going back to Brazil, it wasn't swine flu, but there's something going on down there too that Jordan and DJ and those guys didn't go, but there's something going on there too. So I'm hoping that next go around here, we're in a much better spot of a global travel health spot where we get all the top guys. And also, the PGA Tour schedule this year was all moved around because COVID, right? They crammed it and they had to move things or whatever. So I'm hoping that, again, given it happens in a regular scheduled programming, they give these guys, it fits better in the schedule where they can go do that, and they're not, missing out on a major or going right off the heels of a major, like literally the next week or the next 10 days or whatever, to that event where they can actually truly prepare for it, get over there early, get adjusted. I mean, I don't know where the next Olympic is, but I don't know. Get to wherever they need to be, right? Get adjusted for
Find out in
and
4 years where it
whatever.
is.
Like, I would love to see that kind of grow and become something. I mean, I don't know how they do a team just because of the way they do the rankings. Like, you'd get because like not every country is going to have two guys in the top 150 or 100 in the world ranking, but at the same time, maybe you just take the top two that they got in that country, and that makes
That's all you
awesome
gotta
underdog
do.
story. All of a sudden, like so and so that like is like kind of a journeyman on the PGA Tour, and then some guy that you don't even know from that same country, they go and they take down a Rory and a Shane Lowry. Like that'd be awesome, right? Like that'd be really
Exactly.
cool to watch. So I'm all aboard the Olympic train with you. I think
Thank you. That's
I
all I
think
wanted.
it's I think there there's work to be done on it still,
Yes,
but I think
100%.
that it's something that I hope that just becomes like a much more prevalent
Yeah,
event in the
like
golf.
a major,
Yeah.
That's the 5th major, but it just comes every 4 years.
Yeah.
Dang.
Well, we'll
Oh,
be
oh, that could be
we'll
a
be
fun
in good shape too. 2024 is in Paris, so um,
Paris.
so
Is
it's
it at
at
that fucking course?
yeah, Le Golf National,
Yeah.
as the French would say. Um, so
More like golf. Gay. Forgot him.
Jeez. Okay. Well, we will have to blur that one out, but that's all
Oh,
right.
we'll be fine. We'll be fine. I mean, like happy gay.
All right. Is that where the last Ryder Cup was? Is that the same
Yeah.
tour?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All
Exactly.
right.
Yeah.
But
So
that, yeah, I don't know. They got to get over there and get adjusted.
yeah, let's transition into just a little fall, right?
Yeah. Before we actually totally shut the door on golf, I do want to give a shout out to fall golf. That is probably the biggest benefit of living in New England is like fall golf up here. When you get September is probably the best weather to golf in New England. It's not 100 and humid and like miserable and raining and everything's wet or whatever. You get like really true conditions and like, not to be that guy, but the foliage looks pretty cool out there in the fall. Like
Trees are
to
starting
the
to turn
leaves.
here, boys.
Shout out to the leaves.
shout out to the leaves. They do a good job come, end of September, early October. Nice views out there. You get out there, a nice early tea time. You got a nice piping hot coffee, maybe a little something in that coffee if it's a Saturday. Maybe, a little bogey proof cocktail coffee kind of action going on. Get a nice early round in. You wrap up right around lunchtime.
Go
You
for a
get in
nice
the
hike.
bar. Football's starting. Like, it's just no better day than a day of like that nature. You get out there, beautiful round of golf, get the foliage going. You get to wear nice outfits, right? You get the pants going in the fall, totally different golf attire comes out of the wardrobe. And then, you wrap up the day in the bar watching football get going and stuff like that. It's just, I look forward to those days like every single August when I'm out there sweating my ass off playing golf and it's humid and 93 degrees and I'm sweating everywhere. I'm like, fast forward me a month, man. Let's get some football going. Let's get the fall golf going. There's nothing better.
Yeah. I mean, is there anything I don't look forward to much out there, but I look forward to playing golf at 8 a.m., being done at noon, sitting around the lunch table, figuring out what NFL games I'm going to bet on. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that is a national pastime. And for those that don't experience that, figure it out. Like, that is, you've had all day to stew on those matchups. You've been watching the lines, they've been moving all morning, and there's going to be a can't miss winner in there. You just got to find it. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, you know, I don't care how well you played on the golf course. I don't care if the burger you bought is not cooked the way you asked. There's an opportunity to win. There's an opportunity to end your Sunday successfully if you find that can't miss winner. So I definitely love that about Sunday morning rounds. And I just think even a Saturday, like, it's tough to beat um, a Saturday afternoon round. Like, you can watch a noon football game, get out there for 9 holes or 18 holes, and get back for the 8 o'clock
Prime time.
primetime game, no problem. So like, I know our producer Paul on the line, like he is he loves getting down to the Cape, and like Cape, Massachusetts and Cape golf is just special in the fall.
Mhm.
Hopefully the wind doesn't pick up too much. And when it does, it's not fun because it gets a little chilly down there. But like it is, there's something about New England. There's something about New England golf. I live for wearing a pair of jeans and a quarter zip.
Mhm.
Like that is my most comfortable get up. So
Yep.
like find me in that space the next 2 months.
Mhm.
I'll sweat a little bit here in the beginning of September, working my way into it, and then
Mhm.
I'll be like ready for a coat. But like I'm gonna expand that time and that time period as long as I can get it. Um, Even if I have to go to the flannel jeans, right, and get a little more warmth in there in November.
Yep.
Um, and then also too, like the fall brings in, you kind of can start parlaying like a little bit of going and playing some different golf courses, right? It gets a little cold. Maybe your country club shuts down for the year. Next thing you know, you got to travel down to Connecticut and play where there's no snow, or make a little journey down south in the winter. So like, as much as like you're trying to enjoy fall golf, there's a lot of fun things that come too with like the winter and some of that fun stuff as well. Also, just not to completely bypass football and that gambling aspect, there's just nothing better than college basketball and betting
Oh
on
yeah.
college basketball. So like the fall means I'm closer to November, and the fall means that I can watch a college basketball game every single night of the week.
Yep.
Um, you can get degenerate, like you can just your degenerative personality can just come out, and like you can hide in your house and you can do that kind of stuff. So this is an exciting time for me. I'm going to play golf. I'm going to enjoy the fall, but I'm also going to enjoy the other pieces that come with it. Right? If I want to play golf, I'm going to go pick some apples one weekend. Right? Like I'm gonna
Go to
you're
a
gonna
pumpkin patch. I don't know. Get
yeah,
out.
I'm gonna go to a pumpkin patch. I'm gonna carve one out. Like I love a good Halloween party. Carve out the pumpkin. Put your your bladder of wine from boxed wine. Put it out the spout of the jack o' lantern. Next thing you know, you got a vessel for your boxed wine. Like there's just you can get creative in the fall. Like
Yep.
it is definitely an opportunity to get creative. I can drink my bourbon on a Tuesday night, on my porch, and no one's going to say anything because it's cold outside. And I'm just warming myself up by having this glass of bourbon as Joey
Fun.
takes another swig. So there's just the fall is a special time. Obviously, I'm in Michigan right now. I spent a few years in Chicago, but they're all kind of on the same latitude. You get that nice little cool breeze. Definitely end the night with a little bonfire, a little cocktail, and it is it is my time, and I'm gonna enjoy it. That's all I gotta say.
I love that's a great point with the bourbon too. Like as much as I love a good high noon or a seltzer or whatever on the golf course because it's 100 out, I can finally start drinking, like you said, the bourbons, some Oktoberfest. God forbid I get a pumpkin beer going, a little cinnamon sugar rim. I've been known to do it from time to time, okay? It happens. You mix it
Guilty.
with that stuff, it's more fun to drink beers in the fall than it is in the summer because if you don't drink it in 18 seconds, the bottom half of it's warm. And don't get me wrong, I'm not going to not drink that bottom half, but they stay colder in the fall. That's just science. That's a fact. That plays out. So
The numbers do check.
so fall is just like peak everything. Like Mikey said, you still can play some golf if you want. Beautiful to do so. If you're going out on Saturday, you got to be careful with those bets if you got to get them in before college football kicks off at noon. Shout out producer Paul again. I play with him a few times. I've been known to set the 11:40 alarm and keep it in your bag just to make sure you get those bets in on the 16th or 17th tee before kickoff if you go off at 8 a.m. It's been known to happen. I've seen it happen, and it's to quote Paul himself, it's a sport in itself. Getting that bet in on the 16th fairway as you're walking down, try not to lose pace with the group in front of you, and make sure no lines moved, make sure nobody got injured. Like there's been some casualties due to that, but it's a sport in itself. It's nothing better than the fall.
I also live for the Sunday morning round with you, Fontaine, when your dad starts texting you at like 10 a.m. about like who we bet in this
Oh
afternoon.
Yeah, my dad's
And it's
firing
like,
in like
right,
been
he's
doing
doing the 1
research
o'clock
all
games at
weekend.
like 10:30, and then then you're eating lunch, and the 1 o'clock games have just started. And it's like, who we been on the 4:25 games?
No,
So
once
just the
one touchdown going the wrong way against one of our picks is like, damn it. All right, what do we got next?
yeah,
Oh.
I think too. The fall brings an opportunity to travel a little bit too. I have a hard time. I love traveling during the summer. It's great, but I feel like I'm missing out, right, on playing golf or enjoying kind of the warm weather in these northern cities that we live, right? If you're in Massachusetts, like it's tough to take a weekend and not just like enjoy Western Mass or go down to the Cape and enjoy that, or being in Chicago. Like I don't really never really want to leave the city in the summer just because it's such a cool place. But the fall kind of brings a little bit of an opportunity, right, to like get down to those like states like Virginia, North Carolina, whether it's go to a place like Pinehurst, like we love. I have not spent any time in Pinehurst in the fall, so it's not going to happen this year, probably the next. But um, you
I
know,
think you should move there for good.
you think so?
I do.
Joey, in a perfect world, when I finish up this higher ed degree, I would love to work for an athletic department down there. So catch me in like Chapel Hill or something in 2 years working
Ooh,
for UNC. That's the dream. So
throw me
How
some
far
we'll.
is that
golf.
from Pinehurst?
What'd you say?
You know how far that is from Pinehurst?
Hour and a half.
Okay, I could do
Very doable.
that. I could do
Very
that.
doable. Yeah. So I think you get to do that if you want a little extra warmth. You get down to Texas. You get down to Arizona. Um, can kind of catch a deal too sometimes. Like going this time of year because it's not winter and you're not going down to Florida to get completely out of the weather. Can get a little sketchy in November in a place like North Carolina. Kind of just got to bring everything you got. Bring your rain gear. Bring pants, shorts, and kind of just see what the weather gives you. But definitely talking about volatility, like you can definitely bounce around a little bit and experience different golf courses, different climates. The apples out here in Massachusetts might come in the end of September, but they're not coming until the beginning of November in Virginia. So you can just chase the apple picking if that's what you're into.
Big apple picking podcast.
Big Apple guy.
Hey, this is a serious question. Is apple crisp the best dessert? That is that's number one for me. I don't know
Wait,
how you guys
in
feel.
like overall, you're talking like just in the fall.
Well, that's what I was gonna ask too. Because I think you
Apple
get that in the
crisp,
fall, a nice,
apple
you heat it up, a little half a scoop of vanilla ice cream on top. Oh,
half scoop.
I don't know. I mean, it depends how big the piece of pie is. You can't outshine the apple crisp.
It's a
If you're
crisp. It's
talking
not a
in the
pie.
fall time,
Yeah,
yes, I
whatever.
completely agree. But of all time, I would not agree with that.
What's your
What's your
all-time
all time?
dessert?
Yeah.
My all-time dessert, like,
Don't get classy on us, Joe. That's not you.
no. I mean, fucking ice cream, right? I mean, god damn, bro, it's the best dessert you could ever have.
I mean,
Cookies.
I do love ice
Good.
cream, so
I
I'll ride with you on
love
that.
cookies. Good key lime pie. Whew, love me that. But that's more summertime. I know. Don't worry. I don't know. I'm a big dessert guy. I could go on all fucking day. We're not gonna do that though.
What a segment we stumbled ourselves into here.
I won't.
I don't know, but there is an apple crisp from Mrs. Downs. That's my grandmother. For those that are listening, an apple crisp, homemade ice cream, Packers football. I don't want. I know you a lot of Patriots fans here and Giants fans for Joe. Joe, you're a Giants fan, correct?
Titans, baby. Tighten the
Titans, I
fuck up.
forgot. I
Come
forgot. Yeah,
on.
yeah.
Fuck the
But
Giants, those pieces of shit. I hate the Giants.
but those things, it is just the vibes are immaculate. That's all I can say. The vibes are immaculate.
I am already looking forward to the next month and a half of just rinse and repeating that weekend we just talked about. Just rinse and repeat all those different activities. Oh, I can wear pants again. Oh my God, I can't
I wear pants every
Yep.
day, bro.
Catch Fontaine the flannel. He's been known to wear flannel too.
generate warmth. Good. Shout out to Bon Tempo 2 years ago. The little tee gift, man. That thing is thick. It's like 100% wool. It's not even performance wear. It's just the warmest quarter zip you'll ever put on in your entire life.
It's legitimately like a blanket. Like you
Yeah.
put that thing on and you are sweating in a heartbeat.
Immediate.
Keep the body warm.
Absolutely.
And remember the colors they came in too? They were like
Bad.
it was like a toned down Carolina blue. It was like or like a toned down periwinkle. Like it was a tough spot. It was a
Yeah,
tough spot.
they keep you on your toes. That's for sure up there. That's for sure.
But Joe, what's going on with how's the fall weather been treating you up there in New Hampshire? How much time we got left in the season? What's kind of the outlook?
No, it's going well. Trees they're actually starting to turn, not severely, but I guarantee we'll get a couple cold mornings here, and that'll kind of kill some of the leaves off, and they'll start changing. So it'll get get that nice fall foliage.
Foliage.
Foliage. I always say
Yeah.
foliage.
You had the I and the L switched up.
Yeah, not a word guy either. So yeah, that'll be good. But no, the season's winding down. We only got like a couple one-day member guests, a couple charity events coming, but it's it's coming down to a close, which it's nice to kind of slow down. I went on last Friday. I went over to Aquana Country Club in Vermont and played in the men's inter club there. Lost my match, but it was a hard fought battle. I played the pro from there. So it was like a Nassau match play. So I lost the front 9 by 1. I tied the back 9 with him, but I lost the overall 3-2. So it was all right. I played well. I just had a couple bad holes that really, just kind of cost me. But I should have taken advantage of some things and just some putts that didn't go in, and course management. But that was only my second time playing there. So great golf course, fantastic golf course. I love it there. But yeah, hopefully next time I'll take them down.
It's a fun little event. Sounds like you're ready to go get them next year, getting a little more experience under the belt.
Yeah, and on top of that, we're gonna play a little game. Guess where Joey's playing tomorrow?
What state is it in?
Massachusetts.
Taconic?
No.
Damn.
But you're back in New Hampshire right now, correct?
I'm in New Hampshire. Yes.
Okay, so that narrows it down. Worcester Country Club.
Nope.
I'm not a geography guy, so let me pop open a map real quick.
I'm trying to think of a hint that won't.
Yeah, don't.
Way.
Is it longer than 2 hours away from where you are right now?
No, it is not.
So it's not in the southeast part of the state. So
Here's a hint. It might give it away, but it'll help. Here's another hint that would really give it away. There has been a Ryder Cup there.
The country club?
Yeah.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Worcester Country Club has had a Ryder Cup too, just an FYI.
Yeah. And I was gonna say the next year's U.S. Open, but that gave it away right away.
Wow, Joseph.
So there's, one of the members here, he's got a buddy there, and I've been asking, he said, I'll get you on. So I keep kind of teasing him. And he called me today at work, and he was like, hey, you working tomorrow? I was like, no, I'm actually off. What's up? And he was like, my buddy over at the country club, they have one of their one-day member guests, and I think his guest kind of had to back out. So he asked me and another member, and he's like, the other member can't. And I was going to see if you wanted to. I'm just like, fuck yeah, let's do it. So
let's go.
I'm assuming it's, the two main, what is it? The Clyde and Squirrel, I think, is the two main golf courses. I was just looking it up. Because there's 27 holes there, right?
Yeah, I don't.
That's
elite. I don't know exactly what they use for the
composite
course, but
I'm on it. So golf courses, the main course is composed of the Clyde and Squirrel, essentially the original 18 holes. And then they have the other 9 holes, what's a Primrose course. And when they do like the championship course, when the longer layout is required, they take 3.5 holes from that 9-hole course, 1, 2, 8, and 9. And those are used to replace 3 holes of the Clyde's course, resulting in almost 7,400. Granted, I won't be playing it at that, but yeah, so I'm excited. Hopefully I don't suck.
That will be an experience,
Yeah,
Joseph.
enjoy that, dude. Try and take as many mental photographs.
Yeah,
as
exactly, right?
on
That's like the
TV. You can be
toughest
like,
thing.
oh, I did that.
Yeah, you know, like that's the toughest thing. I'm gonna want to take pictures, but like I'm with, members and I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
will here and there, but it's not like I can be a fucking photographer out there.
Yeah, no, you don't want to be that guy.
Exactly. So no, I'm excited. I don't really care how I play. I just want to go enjoy
Embrace
it.
it, man. And that's
Exactly.
awesome.
I've put so much pressure on myself to play well. I'm just over it.
How do you feel are your chances against Mr. Murphy's team? Direct,
Producer Paul's
our
dad is in the event.
producer Paul Murphy,
Friend of the
his
program.
father will be playing in the event. How do you see your?
Is he
How do you
actually?
feel you're going to do
Yeah.
against him? Yes, he
Get
is.
out of town. Let's go. What's his first name?
Roy,
Is it Roy? Roy Murphy? I'm gonna look for him tomorrow.
find him.
Turn it on, Paul. Yeah, I don't care.
But
Just
yeah,
look at a ghost.
Well,
Roy
he'll be
Murphy.
about.
Let's
played
go.
with I've
I'm
played
gonna
with
look for
Mr.
him.
Murphy before. Guy knows what he's doing out there. He gets it around. He plays his game. He stays within himself. Steady.
What are the odds of that happening, huh? Ugh, fuck.
Imagine if we just
Imagine if that just happened.
imagine friend of the program and producer Paul just takes Joey down and the country club member guest tomorrow. We'd have to get like a drone coverage out there and get some live lines.
Dude, that's amazing. I hope I run into this. I hope I run into him. That's gonna be amazing.
That'd be
What a
awesome.
world.
What small world? Small world. But I don't know. Anything else on fall? I mean, tell you what, we're clearly all excited, and it's football. We got NFL kicking off in
Go
2
Titans.
days now. Bucks, Cowboys. I don't think it's going to be the funnest game in the world, but hey, NFL is starting up again. It's incredibly excited. College football started this past weekend, technically a week and a half ago, but college football going, NFL going. Like Mike said, college basketball starting up in a couple months. The fall is here. We're after Labor Day. Doesn't mean the golf stops, but just means there's other stuff on the agenda to get to. So, unless you guys got anything else, I think that's
I think that's it.
hell of a way to wrap up the PGA Tour season and look forward into some fall. And bogey proof, like I said before, bogey proof doesn't stop just because the PGA Tour season's over. We have plenty more content. We got the Ryder Cup coming up still. Plenty of other fall stuff. The Gambling Lab still going on. I'm sure that'll pivot into a little bit of this NFL, college football, college basketball, whatever it is that we're referencing here as the fall gets going, and we'll keep the content flowing as best we can until PGA Tour gets started back up back in Hawaii. Really is when it starts up. I know they have the fall series stuff going on, but most of our energy will start once they get going at the tournament champions out there in Hawaii. So,
Yeah.
Cheers, boys!
Yeah.
Pleasure.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers.
Shout out to Apple Crisp.
Shout out
Shout to apples in general.
Just a versatile fruit. Good
Very
for snacking. Good for desserts. Good for cocktails. Good for beers. Just if you find yourself wanting a snack later, go for an apple.
Hey, Big Apple, if you're out there listening, get at us. We'll throw some sponsorships.
Yeah, send us a picture of your apples. We'll put a poll out on the Instagram. What type of apples you guys like to have? We'll make this a segment. We'll make it a bit. Don't worry.
All right, boys. Cheers.
Cheers.
See ya.